What a shocker. What a shocker of a game. It felt like the typical end of season, no intensity. We know why that was for both teams, really, for Arsenal and for Everton. We're going to break it down. Big cries that Arsenal were robbed by another refereeing decision in the match. And we really want to get your views and your opinions on that during the show as well. So make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you're subscribing, get this shared across your social media platforms as well. But 1-1 on the day. And yeah, look, it was a weird football match, wasn't it? It was a very strange, very weird, very boring football match. And partly that was due to one of the most shocking refereeing performances I've seen in a long time. And I'm talking for both sides. Every little push, every little time a player breathed, there was a foul given. So I didn't feel like the game could ever really get flowing. Then we had a number of injuries and stoppages in relation to that. It was just a very strange game. It lacked intensity. Everton playing for very little. Arsenal season's pretty much done in the Premier League. Arsenal got the biggest game of their season on Tuesday. And you could see that was in the mind of their players. But on top of that, the referee just didn't help either. I thought in both directions. It was just so, and even at the end, anyone wants to defend the referees, feel free to, but he blew full fucking time and then changed his mind and gave a free kick. I've never seen anything like it in my life. He lost his head. He really, really did. But look, I thought overall, as I said at the start, a shocking game. I don't think Arsenal fans will be too surprised. I think you could see that their players were thinking about Tuesday. Did they want to sprint hard? Did they want to make that challenge? Did they want to exert themselves? You could argue they should be fighting for positions in the team, but I think everyone knows who's starting the game. The manager's probably already picked his team. There are certain players that will know whether they're starting or not. I think Ben White starting today, as an example, shows that he's going to be starting in the right back role. Timber getting a rest until the second half. But overall, I thought a really, really poor quality game of football overall. Good goal from Trossard. Very good goal from Trossard. And that's one thing they did very well today in the first half, Arsenal. They pressed and won the ball back well. It dispelled a bit of a myth as well, didn't it? There's this kind of myth going around that Arsenal don't get transitions and Victor Gyökeres had no time and no space and nothing to run into. They had about 4 or 5. I don't get used to calling them transition chances. It's weird. Counter-attack just sounds so much better. They get so many counter-attack opportunities, Arsenal. They're just not always great with them. But between Trossard and Raheem Sterling, they did very, very well with one in the first half. Excellent finish by Trossard as well into the bottom corner. I felt they should have probably done better with more of those elements in the game. Everton, look, they just were poor on the ball. I didn't think they were poor on the ball against Liverpool, and I called that out. And poor on the ball again today at times, where as soon as teams pressure them. But it ends 1-1, and probably, I haven't looked at the stats for the game. I bet the stats match what I think, fairly even. How many shots each? Well, actually, no. I thought Everton had a few more shots than that. 14 shots to 5, to be fair. But only 5 on target and 2 for Everton. I thought Everton had a few more shots than that. Okay, maybe it was opportunities and chances. But look, just a real poor quality game overall. I don't think anyone is going to deny that. Now, of course, the situation with the penalty. I like to sometimes, before I give my opinion, which I will, sometimes what I like to do is ask a question on social media. Who thinks this is a penalty? Would you give a pen or not? I like to gauge the response. Sometimes you can see bias. And that when there's bias, it gives you an idea that when there's a lot of bias, I often think, well, I believe the opposite. But the amount of Man United, the amount of Liverpool, the amount of Tottenham fans, Chelsea fans that I have seen respond and say absolutely no penalty. Of course, it's subjective, and some people will say no. He was Lewis-Skelly was pulling Harrison, therefore it's a penalty. The amount of Arsenal's rivals that are saying no penalty, I think, is a really good indicator that it was a soft one. And the incident was a very strange one. And I think what's really important to remember here is I think some people think it was given for Lewis-Skelly leaning into Harrison and pulling on him. Others think it was for this moment where he falls and ever so slightly catches the left leg of the Everton player. The interesting thing is, no one actually knows yet. Maybe it was for a combination of the two. I'm very intrigued to see the official breakdown from the PGMOL, from VAR in relation to it. For me, why this is such a bad decision is 10 minutes later, I want to say that it was Njai. Njai was leaning into Urian Timber in the exact same way, and the foul went for him. The foul went for Njai, for Everton. Secondly, there's meant to be a high threshold for penalties. There's meant to be a really high threshold for penalties. That has been the protocol for about 2 to 3 years now in the Premier League. And even the people that have said, yes, it's a pen, when they're breaking it down and they're being fair, they're saying it's 50-50. It could have gone either way. So as soon as you say, well, it's 50-50, if it's a 50-50, then I don't see how it can meet the threshold of being a penalty. If the standard for a penalty has to be high, if the threshold to pass as a penalty has to be a very clear, distinct foul, if you're saying, yeah, I see why it was given, it was a 50-50 challenge, though it could have gone either way, forget what you think, whether it was a foul or not. It doesn't meet the threshold to be a penalty. And it's very important we don't forget the protocols and the standards that have been set. For me, I don't think it's much of a foul at all. Yes, he's made a mistake, Lewis-Skelly. Terrible defending. He's let the ball bounce. He's let the player get the wrong side of him. He's leaning into him and pulling on him. But he's also being pulled and pushed by Harrison as well. He then falls. And he does slightly catch the leg. But the way Harrison cuts his leg back, arches his back and falls, your body wouldn't fall in that direction if someone comes down on you. That doesn't work like that. So there was massive simulation in this. And I felt it should have just been play on. 6 of one, half a dozen of another. And we all know that you were going to see that type of defending from fullbacks and centre-backs when they get caught out. It happens all the time. They lean in, they lean back, they use their body weight. It happens so regularly. To give it as a penalty in that, it happens on every fucking corner. To give it in that scenario, I think is really, really poor indeed. Really, really poor indeed. And if your team conceded one later today, you'd go mad. If Man United concede one like that tomorrow, I'm going mad. I'm going mad. And by the way, a lot of the Everton fans saying it was a Stonewall penalty. These are the same people that said Tarkowski's tackle the other day was fine because he won the ball first. So it's just an interesting one for me. But yeah, I thought in terms of the referee overall today, I thought we had a shocker. Blows full time at the end, then gives a free kick. Gave too many niggly fouls that ruined the flow of the game, which started off quite intense. The penalty for me, listen, I can understand why people will say it's a foul. In the middle of the park, you normally get that. You just typically don't get it in the box. You typically don't get it in the box. I thought it was a really, really poor decision. I'd be fuming if I conceded a penalty like that. Equally, if Manchester United will beat City tomorrow with a penalty like that, all the people saying today 100% Stonewall penalty, because they don't like Arsenal, will say that Manchester United got lucky and we cheated. And equally, what I would love, again, if Sky Sports are good at their job, when they get Howard Webb in a room, let's listen to the breakdown and everything. But show him from last season, Rasmus Højlund being dragged to the floor by Gabriel, which 95% of fans all said, not enough for a penalty. PGMLO defended it. Howard Webb defended it. They all said no penalty. They should play them side by side and get the breakdown as to what's the difference and what we as fans should be looking for is the distinction between this penalty today and why one wasn't given to Rasmus Højlund, because that's the first thing that came into my head. Equally, they defended the slight nudge in the back in the Merseyside derby back in February. There was that wasn't enough for a foul, a little nudge. So I don't see how this one is. And that's what I would like to see the mainstream media do. They have the access, is to look at those scenarios and get and push and force a response from the PGMOL So we understand why they think and do what they do. But for me, yeah, I thought it was a really, really poor decision overall. However, that all being said, I thought Lewis-Skelly's defending was really poor and he should be criticised for that. The game, I thought, was a shocker. I understand why there was a lack of intensity today. Arsenal have got their eyes on Tuesday. But I thought overall it was a very low-quality game, especially in that second half. Very bitty, very stop-starty, not a lot of quality. And no team really looked like they wanted to go on and try and win the game. And maybe Arsenal fans are accepting of that because they feel the players are sort of saving themselves for Tuesday. There is an argument that maybe, try and play with more intensity, get more of a flow into your game, take that into Tuesday night, or Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday night. So there is an argument. I'd love to get your opinions on that. But just as a spectator watching, I thought it was a very, very low quality, a bit of a shocker of a game, if I'm being absolutely honest, but not helped, as I've already said, by the very poor standard of refereeing today. I thought it was terrible. I really did think it was terrible. Let's have a look here at some of your comments. Total Eclipse says clear penalty. Look, if you think it's a penalty, you think it's a penalty. What I will just say, Total Eclipse, I don't know who you support, but if your team concedes a penalty like that, I don't want to see any moaning. And this is where I'll call bullshit on a lot of people. Most of the people that I've seen that are saying clear penalty, there's no debate even. Typically, when you look at them and look at their profile, they either hate Arteta or they hate Arsenal. I don't think there's a lot of objectivity going on here. If they conceded that, or a team they rate or like conceded that penalty, they would probably do their nut. And people will flip and switch on that. So, yeah, look, for me, I just don't think you should be giving penalties for things like that. I think it was really, really soft. It was. Criticise the Lewis-Skelly defending. I think that is absolutely correct. It was poor. He let the ball bounce. He got caught underneath it, but not a penalty for me. But I respect your opinion, brother. I really do. PGMOL are corrupt. I need a video of Egal doing the guard of honor, clapping for all the waffle he said all season. Well, he's not in the game. He can't do a guard of honor, can he? But I get you. Well, no, the ref's on-field decision was a penalty and there's no clear and obvious error. What is the robbery? Well, this people are asking. It's why it's a question. But for me, the referee's given the decision. I understand people will then say, well, there's no clear and obvious error, so nothing can be changed. But what did he give it for? That's why I'm intrigued to know. And I said earlier on, Sophie, what was it given for? Was it for the pull? Was it because he falls on the foot? And if you look at the way he falls on the foot, there's barely any contact on it at all. And the point I'm making, Sophie, is we've been told by the PGMOL, the threshold for a penalty is high. Look at the contact in the box on, I'm not too sure which player it was. Somebody got tripped in the box in the Merseyside derby the other day. That wasn't the Merseyside derby. It was in the the Spurs-Chelsea game. And he got his leg caught. And they said that they had no on-field decision and they didn't change their mind. And they said there was contact, but not enough contact for it to be a foul, as an example. So I would love to know what the difference was. Because if the threshold's high and the on-field decision doesn't meet that threshold, there is an argument it's a clear and obvious error of not meeting the threshold. But we should ask these questions as fans so we are educated and understand, Sophie. It's not wrong to ask the question. Are you taking everything away from... So you're taking everything away from Everton. Don't you think they had a good game by their standards? No. I thought they defended well at times in the game. They start... what have I said? I said the game started with good intensity. When they conceded, they lost their way for a little bit, but they were very sloppy in possession. Arsenal, when they pressed them in the first half, had a number of turnovers that led to good goal-scoring opportunities. The second half, again, they defended well, but I thought the game was very stop-starty in both directions. So I took nothing away from Everton. But the referee was giving too many easy, small fouls. Free kick here, free kick there. There was never a flow in the game. And I actually think that they would have benefited Everton if there was more flow to the football match, because their tactic was very obvious. Wait for Arsenal to lose possession and let's knock it long to Beto and see what we can do. So, yeah, I mean, I've taken nothing away from Everton, but I don't necessarily think they were great, especially on the ball. But the intensity was there in the first half, and I thought it was gone in the second. But I thought overall it was a low-quality game from both sides, is what I said. So if you thought Everton were really good, defensively, yes. If you think they were good, then you think they were good. The PGMOL robbed us again. Terry, you were right about the article putting a bullseye on Lewis-Skelly's back. Look, that element for me, I hadn't touched on that yet, but yes, I feel, again, because it's Lewis-Skelly, I think that's in the referee's mind. There are certain players over the history of the Premier League have a target on their back because of media campaigns or perceptions of those individuals. So Casemiro gets it. Casemiro, for some reason, is viewed as a bit of a thug, as an example. There are others that will get away with that type of thing. I can guarantee you Van Dijk doesn't concede that as a penalty. I guarantee you he doesn't. And I don't think he should either, by the way. But the way they did that article of Lewis-Skelly in the week, and they kind of made it sound like it was nice, but they spoke about his secret weapon being the Jonah Lomu handoff. There's been so many people talking about him being a sort of talking about him like he's a thug and he's aggressive and he gets these red cards and he's got to watch himself. Criticize his poor defending today, absolutely. But there's definitely a target on his back. And and we all know this exists. We remember Man United getting a lot of rightful penalties. Jurgen Klopp comes out and says something, suddenly we stop getting penalties. It can work in reverse, but there is definitely a target on Lewis-Skelly's back. The way he was treated when he turned up for that England duty is like nothing I'd ever seen before from a player who's done nothing wrong. By the way, I don't agree with the witch hunt, even if you get sent off for England, but it was on that level. It was crazy to me. So yeah, I stand by that. Some of you will disagree, but there we go. There we go. It's up to you guys. This here says bigger fish to fry in it. Okay. That's a strange comment to say. MLS hanging on to that bottle still. Big. Okay, cool. You're not saying anything. You're not making a point. Why is everyone acting like Arsenal could have caught Liverpool? No, they couldn't. It was done. The league's done. The title race is over. I hear you. How the hef is that a penalty? The PGMOL are corrupt and biased, is what the gunner says here. If there was no referees in football and no human players, only injury-free robots, Arsenal would have won the league. Told you those mutants will be here soon. Yeah, okay, mate. That's a weird comment. It's not really an argument, though, is it? If it's an ad hominem attack and there's no argument, you can think it isn't a penalty. Explain it. Present your argument. Be a grown-up. You don't need to call people names. As soon as you go to an ad hominem attack, if you present an argument and within it you call someone a bit of a name, fair enough. But if your rebuttal is an ad hominem attack, you've lost the argument. It's as straightforward as that. This victim mentality from Arsenal fans is the main reason why us rivals just can't stand them. Break that down for me, Sam. Break that down. Are you saying it was a penalty? Do you think it was a penalty? And do you think that it shouldn't be discussed? Like, what are you saying here? Let me know. Go into more detail on that so I understand more of your point. Oh, he has come back here with a super chat, actually. He said, this victim mentality from Arsenal fans is the main reason why us rivals can't stand them. When you drop points, just accept it and move on. I don't think that you should ignore this decision today, even if Arsenal won. The same as exactly what I said, Sam, after Liverpool beat Everton. And I've got a piece dropping on that in the next 24 hours. I was just waiting for some information to come through. But I may redo it now. There's a few things I want to add. But I still said that Liverpool fans need to be talking about this and pushing for answers from the PGMOL, even though they had won. So I think you should criticize the team's poor performance, but it doesn't mean you should ignore the refereeing decision. I think it's a really sad direction that some people want to take fan content, where it's let's never speak about referees and just performance. Equally, I don't just want to speak about the referees. Let's do both. I think it's really, really important to do that. I like this comment. Where's it gone? I've lost it. I've lost the comment. Don Vito here says no videos about Liverpool. Yeah, we spoke about the Liverpool decision at large 3 times, and there's something that's been recorded that's going to drop on that already, Don Vito. I know you're desperate, but we spoke about it. I worked it out because someone asked me why. We spent over 4.5 hours of stream time talking about that refereeing decision by Liverpool. About 4.5 hours of stream time, plus shorts, plus, I think in totality, somewhere in the region of 500,000 views across all our platforms speaking about that Liverpool decision. Cheers, guys. Thanks, guys. Nice one. But where's it gone? I want to see the comment. It might have even been from Don Vito, because I think it's a really important thing to address here. Here it is. It is from Don Vito. Terry is the same guy who calls people toaster people when he has no argument. Blah, 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 blah. But what did I just say? Yeah, I call people like you toaster people, but I present an argument as to why you're a toaster person, as opposed to just calling you a name. Plus, the toaster people comment's a little bit of a joke, but I'm giving you an argument. I'm giving you an argument as to why I think you're wrong, or why at the very least something should be discussed. As I very clearly stated, Don Vito, and this is why you're a toaster person, I wouldn't trust you with a toaster, is I clearly stated that if you call someone a name, but present a solid argument, fair enough. But it's when you just do ad hominem attacks, when you just write cry more, when you just write hold that, that's your argument. It's just like you can hear the brain cells clicking together. It's like Morse code, bruv. The inside of your head sounds like Morse code. That's all it is. Come on now, do better. Present an argument without attacking someone. Without just attacking someone. Come on. Terry, stop enabling these Arsenal fans. Something to do with enabling. What have I said on the show? This is the last thing I was saying it before bringing up my panel. Said they lacked intensity. Said Lewis-Skelly defended poorly, as an example. Criticism of Arsenal there. Okay? Twice. As an example. But I'm also talking about the penalty. Within the penalty, I've criticized elements of the defending, but I just don't think it's a penalty. That is not enabling anybody. But what's happening to you, my friend Dom, is you are suffering with what is called cognitive dissonance. You're hearing something you don't like, and your brain goes, and when that happens, your ears stop working, and your ears will block out all the things being said that you almost want to hear, because you become so fixated on something you didn't like hearing. So there's been criticism of Arsenal's performance. Doesn't mean because Arsenal weren't great, I am not going to speak about the penalty. Simple and as straightforward as that, Don. And ironically, you could just comment about Arsenal's performance and I'll put it up on the screen. But instead, all of you in the comments that are unhappy are continuing to talk about the penalty. So break the game down for me and do something else. Say something different. Come on now, Don. Come on now, my brother. The ref was so pathetic. The player was pulling themselves, and that dude went inside the box to fall. Yeah, look, I thought it was a 50-50. I just thought they were both pulling on each other. And you get that in the middle of the park. Some days, one way it goes one way, one way it goes another. Rarely is it given in the box. I just feel in those moments where both players are pulling on each other, it should just be play on. Just play on. One, I think he gave too many of them today, the referee, in both directions, and it ruined the flow of the game. I just don't think fouls should be given for that. It's just crazy, in my personal opinion. Terry, are you scared yet? Honestly, bruv. Yeah, honestly, I'm so petrified. Like my balls have shrunk up inside me, bruv. Terrified. Absolutely terrified. King Hare says, trying to convince yourself and Arsenal fans. Listen, if you think it's a penalty, make your argument as to why. But that isn't an argument. So I'm trying to convince myself. I've explained why. Doesn't meet the threshold of a penalty, in my personal opinion. We see that type of 50-50 pulling on a regular basis. How often do you see penalties given inside the box? We're not even too sure whether it was for the pull or the fall on the leg, which makes it even more interesting. And I would be fuming if my team conceded that. I don't think it's a penalty. Tomorrow, King, if Man United get a penalty like that, I beg you come back on here and say Stonewall penalty. I bet you don't. I bet you don't, my old mucker. Okay, let's talk about the game then. Where was the most overrated captain in the Premier League? Martin Odegaard. He's on the bench for most of the game. And then he came on and did very little. Yeah, he came on, didn't do great. Had another chance where he could have scored. Thought, again, his finishing in front of goal has been really, really poor. But the majority of the game, he's on the bench. When did he come on? I want to say like 75th minute. It could have been later, 71st minute. So for 70% of the game, he wasn't on the pitch. So in terms of Arsenal lacking intensity for large periods and finishing quality, I'm not going to put that on a man that played sort of only just over a quarter of the game. But when he came on, did he do enough? No, he had a chance to score at the end. Really poor shot, Silky, and disappointing. But yes, he wasn't on the game for very long at all. Don here says he got pulled in the box. That's a pen. I know you need the refs as a narrative for content. I don't think it's a penalty. We just agree to disagree. I'll agree to disagree on that one. But I respect your opinion. I agree that we should focus on the PGMOL, but Arsenal fans will talk 100% about the ref decisions instead of critiquing their team. Well, what I will say, Sam, you remember here, there's no way our gooners that come on our panels do that. I haven't done it, and the panel won't do that. You will get it on other platforms. There's some real shit ones out there that will do that, but that's not here. It's like you're going into McDonald's and complaining about a Burger King meal that you had. Just don't watch those shit channels. I guarantee you, Sard, Connor, Ash, backstage, I guarantee they will criticize Arsenal's performance in period or individuals today. There's no way our panelists are coming on here and not talking about their team performance, Sam. It's just an impossibility that it's going to be that one-sided. I just know it. If you would have scored 3 or 4 goals and the ref's decision wouldn't impact the results, when you only score 1, you allow the ref to impact the results. And I think that's fair criticism. But like I've said, Sam, if they won 4-1, I would still criticize that penalty. I would still criticize that decision. Terry, create an SJW group. SJW. Oh, Social Justice Warrior group for Arsenal fans, because clearly they aren't watching football. Arsenal fans like ghost adventures. You hear it, but you never see it. Sick of the racist crap. Just watch the game. Oh, I don't understand the last comment. Who's been racist here? And equally, what I will say about Arsenal fans and the social justice stuff, there are some that go too far, and I call that out. I don't think there is a genuine conspiracy from all refs against Arsenal. The irony is that the middle of the week, Liverpool fans did a lot of moaning about decisions, and so did Everton fans when it came to the goal they thought was offside. All fan bases complain about referees, you know. Genuinely. D-Town says the pen was soft to me. I understand why it was given. Would prefer these not to be given. And do you know what, D-Town? You've given them probably the best analysis of it, of everybody, is the fact that you understand why it was given. That phrase means it could be given. I understand why it wouldn't be given. But the threshold for getting a penalty, they've told us, is high. So if you see it as, if your view of any penalty is, I see why it was given, by definition, then it can't beat the threshold because it's meant to be absolutely a penalty. And that's not my interpretation. It's what the PGMOL have said. That's why I just think it's wrong, because it could have gone the other way. If a foul was given the other way, we'd all say the same thing, wouldn't we? We'd go, oh, I get why you think it's a foul in both directions. Therefore, I don't think it can be a penalty. But there we go. There was virtually 0 contact in the box. Yeah, and we just see players doing that all the time. We really, really do. Compare the disallowed goal at Newcastle when Gabriel was pushed. Don't do that. Don't do that, because people don't like these conversations. It's true. If that contact from Joel Linton was deemed okay, how can this be a penalty? And again, this is where football fans have just got to drop the tribalism and go, actually, that's what Michael Owen should be asking Howard Webb. And then we get answers. But instead, fans want to fight each other over bullshit and not ask the real hard, solid questions. It's a great question. It should definitely be asked. Afternoon, if Liverpool could be champions against Liverpool, if they win the next 3 games and draw against Spurs, if Arsenal win all that games. Sorry, I misread that. If Liverpool could be champions against Tottenham, if they win their next 3 games and draw against Spurs, if Arsenal win all their games. Yeah, I think you guys needed 4 more wins. With Arsenal dropping points, I think it's slightly less than that now. But yeah, you could be. You definitely could be. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Let's have a look at a few more of your comments. I don't want to miss these. Saka back, game-changing margin like he was against Fulham. Shame there's no goal this time, but we clearly see how he's level. Pray for Madrid trending. I find Arsenal fans pushing pray for Madrid very fucking weird. Very weird. But yeah, Saka had very little impact when he came on, and he'll probably start against Real Madrid, but he didn't do very much at all today. I wouldn't say he looks sluggish. They didn't really get him into the game. And when they did get the ball, it's a very hard team for him to open up against because they're very compact. He's doubled up upon. So yeah, he came on and did okay. 6 out of 10, nothing great, nothing special. But we know what a player he can become. And he's being, I keep hearing it's a risk. Well, they've got to stop. They're not just going to not play him for the rest of the season. But it's going to take time for him to find his legs. He'll probably have more space though against Real Madrid. So maybe that will help him. It's so blatant that the ref had bias. It's ridiculous how PGMOL can't be questioned. Arsenal need to do something. Yeah, look, and you're all going to see it, and it will get ignored by people that hate Arsenal, and it will get shouted about by Arsenal fans, and it will just result in the PGMOL being protected. You will see that foul again this weekend, and nothing will be given, and it won't even be discussed by anybody. It's a shame, but that's why the PGMOL will continue to get away with these things. They really, really will. How the F is that a pen? Sorry, we've done that one. I'll have to make sure I haven't missed any of these super chats from any of you guys. Silky here says Arsenal is a team full of disgusting characters. Look at Trossard at the end of the game. Odegaard is a shocking captain as well. Did he even play today? He played for the last 20 minutes. I just want to point that out. He didn't play the whole game. So maybe you thought he was a ghost because he was on the bench. Sorry. He played 20 minutes. So where was he for the first 70? He was on the bench. You can't blame him for that. And when you say full of disgusting characters, look at Trossard at the end. What do you mean? Please break that down for me. Please, again, I think I know what you mean, but I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume. MLS stinkers costing Arsenal and Arteta plus the guard of honor. Yeah, I thought he was poor defensively today, Lewis-Skelly, on a few occasions. I thought Arsenal, by and large, made a few mistakes at the back today defensively. And I think that's because their game was lacking intensity. I think it was lacking intensity. Highbury Extra here says, for all those who are not sure what propaganda is, you're witnessing it real time. Miles Lewis-Skelly can't breathe without a foul being given. Hilarious decision. The VAR hasn't given a decision in Arsenal's favour since October 2023, a week before that Newcastle game. Same ref who refed the Wolves game. Have you not had one go in your favour? I'm not saying you're lying, but I swear like you've had stuff go your way. Everybody has in that time. Surely it hasn't been 18 months since VAR went in your favour. About to say, yeah, the Man United goal, but that was actually like in the August that year or September. Interesting if true. I'm not saying you're lying. I just haven't seen that stat anywhere. Thank you, Luke, for encouraging everybody to hit that like button for us. It means a great deal. I really do appreciate that a lot. Terry, what's up with Darren England today? He is not a good game at all with these decisions, but they're ending. And this is the thing why it needs to be discussed. And don't just lose sight of it because it's Arsenal and you don't like them. He blew full time and then changed his mind. Fuck me, pink. I tell you, it's a crazy one. But again, people don't want to have these conversations. I don't understand why. Terry, you and Mark talked about the article with Lewis-Skelly and that rugby player, Jonah Lomu, and thought it would affect refs. I think we saw it today. Yeah, look, I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. It felt like a really weird article. You talk about a player that uses his hands to shield the ball like most players, but then to liken it to Jonah Lomu, who had the most ferocious handoffs in rugby, was a very, very strange thing for me to read. It really, really was. It really, really was. Time for the panel now, people to come on and have their say. We will talk about the penalty, but the first thing we're going to get them to talk about, just for the people that are angry in the chat, is the performance. Who we got on the show? We got Mo, we got Egal, we got Connor, we got Sard, we got Shannon, we got Ash, we got Dio, we got Matt. We got a fucking lot of people for a damp squib. We got a lot of people. Connor, what did you make of Arsenal today? Why was there such a lack of intensity in your opinion, bro?
Well, I completely agree with you first and foremost, Terry, about the lack of intensity. And for me, it's down to the main factor of the lineup we put out today. You know, as soon as I saw that lineup, especially with the midfield, and even up front, like people like Sterling as well, even though I did get assists today, but I said to myself, it's going to be a slow day. It's not going to be very fun to watch. And listen, with a midfield of you know, Marino, Jorginho, and I do like Declan Rice, but I just knew, especially Jorginho, today very much slowed down that midfield, especially when we were getting on the attack. Very, very slow. It felt quite lethargic at times as well. But see, I expected this. You know, when I saw the lineup, I said, you know what? I can now understand why today's going to be a bit of a tough day. But I do have to say, I actually gave respect to the manager because I would have rather had this outcome today of a rotated side in a sense. I just thought it was a good idea, the fact that we had 5 of our main best players on the bench today. It made sense. The league's done. And I was actually kind of paranoid that Arteta would start the team against Madrid. And, you know, you've seen what Tarkowski done the other day. I think in the back of Arteta's head, he was like, we ain't having that happening to one of our players. So I think it was a smart move. And I do have to respect him for that. And I think it did make sense. And listen, I'm one of many fans who's already accepted the league is done. So it didn't really bother me too much of the lineup we put out today. I'm going to be honest with you, the draw hasn't even affected me as much. The thing that will affect me as much is what happens in the next 2 weeks, midweek in the Champions League. But honestly, I mean, it says it all really. I mean, going forward, we were really poor today. It was a very good counter attack from Raheem Sterling and Trossard to get the goal. It was very, very good. So them going forward, that moment was good. But apart from that, I mean, the fact that Kieran Tierney came on and created the most chances out of anyone in the space of 20 minutes just says it all, really. You know, we were lacking up front, but it's down to the fact of the team we had out. But I'm not going to put the blame towards the manager for that because it made sense. Look what we've got coming up. You know, it makes sense to rotate.
And that was sort of from my perspective. I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I was annoyed because I wanted a bit more of a spectacle of a game. But it's not my team that's going to play Tuesday. Ash, how about yourself? I mean, the game wasn't particularly great, but was it more about just getting some players returning some minutes and getting ready for Tuesday, or did you want to see more from Arsenal today? How did you assess that, Ash?
No, look, I agree with Connor. I echo exactly what he said. I was not that disappointed. I saw the lineup, was like, okay, it makes sense to rotate. I was happy to see Ben White play as right back because I think that's probably the approach he's going to take against Real Madrid as well. So it was good for him to shift it up a little bit. I still don't like seeing Sterling start, even if we're rotating, but it is what it is. And he did end up getting an assist. And I think even with the lineup we put up, I think we could have won. I generally think we could have won. We played really well in the first half. Trossard obviously gave us the lead, and then he missed a chance after that, which rebounded to Declan Rice. And I think Declan Rice should have squared it to Sterling, who probably would have been able to tap it in. And then even in the second half, like Tierney comes on, creates 2 very good chances. One for Odegaard, who just somehow mishits it, and then a good cross to Moreno, who heads it just out wide. And even the chance Trossard missed, which Pickford did an amazing save and it was called for a foul anyways. I think if Trossard scores that, it probably would have gone for VAR review and been given, because I don't think that was a foul. I think whoever the defender was, Tarkowski or Brathwaite, I think just fell too easy. But yeah, look, it is obviously disappointing to get a draw, but I'm not as upset about it as I would have been a couple of weeks ago because the league is done. And I think this is the right decision for Arteta to make because he needs to rotate these players. And I also think it's the right decision to bring on Saka and Martinelli start in the second half because he wants to make sure he gives them minutes before the Real Madrid game, because you can be sure Martinelli will start the Madrid game. Saka will 100% start. Odegaard will 100% start. So I think it's a good thing. After the Madrid tie, however, obviously, depending on what happens, and 90% chance we'll probably get knocked out, I want him to start the best team he has until the end of the season. One is to solidify second place, because I do think dropping down from second to third could demoralize the players. I don't think that will happen, but I think it could demoralize the players a little bit. And 2, I think it's important to just try and end the season as strong as we can.
Yeah, I hear you on that. A player that got into the team today was Kiwior, got man of the match from TNT Sports, Egal. Are you worried that performance today means he might start against Real Madrid?
Terry, Everton didn't offer anything. You throw me in there, I'll get man of the match. Like they were terrible. They were terrible attacking wise. We gifted them. The referee gifted them a goal. And I know you guys are gonna say Arteta's made mistakes, Arsenal have made mistakes, but this has been going on the whole season. Bullshit refereeing after bullshit refereeing, poor decision after poor decisions, constantly costing us either by red cards, by giving away penalties at a crucial time, like the Brighton game and this game. And it's just boring at this point. Like, are they targeting Arsenal players? Are they targeting Miles Lewis-Skelly? Should we go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories? Because that's how I kind of feel at times. Because it does come off as like, why? How is all of a sudden Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's in his first season, getting this kind of treatment from referees? He got pulled down to the point where if you see the angle from behind, you can see he's lost full balance and he's about to fall on his ass. But they're saying that player who's about to fall on his ass has taken down the attacker who's leapfrogged into the air like a salmon. This is a joke.
But it was both. But it was both the players. It wasn't just Lewis-Skelly is innocent there. They were both going at each other.
No. You are allowed to get positioning and have like a little bit of 50-50. But when you drag somebody to the ground, you're telling me, Connor, you can drag somebody to the ground and then say that player fouled you?
I personally, from what I saw, there was contact outside the box between the two of them. But then when I look at the replay and when Harrison fell down, Lewis-Skelly's hand or nothing to make a judgment that he pushed him was anywhere near him. So that's why
it was too soft of a penalty.
Lewis-Skelly is the one that's actually fouled. The referee is quick to blow the whistle, and I'm wondering what the hell Stuart Atwell doing on VR, watching that, not giving a friggin' reversing the call. How many times have we seen 50-50 calls like that not be given because they clearly say, yo, the attacker fouled the defender. The defender is also not allowed to get fouled in that situation. But how is it, Miles Lewis-Skelly falls down, he gets pulled down by his shirt, and they allow it? It's ridiculous. This has been going on all season. There's been numerous different situations where we've been getting the wrong end of the stick. I don't see too many things where Arsenal get the benefit of the doubt. And you want to know something? You're going to get Liverpool fans mentioning the penalty that should have been given at their ground or this place or that ground. It's crazy how far you have to go back to name something that's gone in our favor. But hey, let's get back to the game. It's nice to see some rotation. Some of these guys actually do something, like Raheem Sterling getting involved early in the game. But overall, this game was an obstacle. We needed to just get past it to try to get whatever result we could where we don't get any injuries to key players. Hopefully Declan Rice is okay because it looked like he hobbled himself to the end of the game. But the rest of the guys, we needed to rest them. We needed to get some legs and some game time into Ben White. And I think the reason why Ben White started today, Terry, I think he's going to be the one playing on the wing. And I think it's going to be Timber going to be in the center back position versus Real Madrid. I think that's going to be what's probably going to happen. And Kiwior playing was just a formality. And yeah, finally, if there's one more thing that we learned today, Mikel Merino might be better as striker than in midfield. Like,
no, we all knew this. We all
might
knew
be better as striker than in midfield.
He pulled his groin in the warm up, and then he's done a head injury. I don't even know if he'll be fit for the game. I don't even know.
I'm surprised he started that game, to be completely honest, because of the warm up situation, like you said. I actually thought that Kiwior did really, really well today, and I wouldn't even mind him starting against Real Madrid.
Why? What did he do well?
I wouldn't mind him.
Explain
I
what did he do
mind
well?
him.
Mbappe's licking his lips.
What did he do well today? Can you explain what did he do well today?
Just very composed.
One pass.
Composed against Beto. Composed against what? They were not threatened whatsoever. Honestly, there was.
But Beto literally made Van Dijk look like shit.
Well, you're comparing Beto to the likes of
Kylian,
Matt. It's two completely different players. You can't. You can't. I don't. I think that. I think that is under his belt if you put him in the back line.
No, but he's not comparing Beto to anybody. All he simply said is he thinks
he had a good game.
No. See, we talk about how bad Kiwior is as Arsenal fans. Like, if he's that shit, right, then Everton should have done something against him today. Like, you can't.
No, because they're worse. Because they're worse.
Let me say this. Everybody says you don't even. Arsenal fans say we don't even want to see him on the pitch. Like, that's how bad we think he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's third string for a reason, though.
Listen, he should be fifth string. He should be whatever you want to call him. My point is, you can't say that in one breath and then say he didn't do anything against Everton. That means you're saying Everton is a B grade, C grade, Z grade team, which they're not. Which they're not.
Correct.
Everton is not.
They are. Where are they in the league?
Can I quickly clarify something?
Can I just real quick, Egal? You can look at the table and say, look at where they are in the league. Look at how many goals they scored, or look at their position on the table. I hear all of that. The question is, this is the same Everton team that literally this season, as bad as they've been, have put up a good fight against some big teams. So let's not sit here and say Everton is that washed, that Kiwior that Kiwior thrives so much under that. You can't have it both ways.
I'm not saying Everton are washed. I'm just saying the defense was not bothered. Majority of their threat came from set pieces, which Raya did really well to cover. I would say Kiwior was good on the ball today, but the thing is, do you really believe Real Madrid are going to give you that much space?
Madrid don't play like, but Madrid don't play like Everton. So again, what you're doing is you're looking at one game against Everton and saying just because, or games where he's made a mistake, like just because it's Kiwior in those games against those teams, against Madrid.
Dayo, I'm confused.
Would you play Kiwior?
Are you saying you want to start him?
Dayo, are you saying?
No, I would not say Kiwior.
All I'm saying is,
you just said, Matt, you don't mind him starting. What do you mean?
Yes, I don't mind him starting, but I would prefer Ben White or Yuri and Timber starting in that.
That's mad.
He's not my first choice, is what I'm saying. But I wouldn't.
So why you even mention it?
I wouldn't be pissed if he started. I wouldn't be pissed if he started.
Egal, let me ask you a question.
He looks composed.
Rude awakening.
Honestly, we're fighting.
Yeah, honestly.
Right, do you know what? Do you know what? I'm going to say very quickly, right? It's nothing to do with Everton. Kiwior played well today, right? But don't be lured in by it, Matt. Don't be lured in by it. Kiwior he's a cream puff. He is soft. Blow on him, he falls over. You don't. This happens every now and then, right? You guys had it. I remember watching Arsenal games where Holden would come into the team. He played well he looks a lot better than the last time he played. Next game, he's crap. The problem is, it's just if your manager doesn't pick Lewis-Skelly, Timber, and Saliba, doesn't matter which way around they play, and Ben White, if that isn't your back four for the Real Madrid game, he's lost his mind. Yeah. If that isn't the full, now that we all know that Ben White and Timber are fit, that's got to be the back. And I think that's why Kiwior played today. Timber had a little knock, a bit of rest. Ben White gets sort of 50, 60 minutes to get some blood rushing through the legs. I think that's going to be your back four. I almost felt the Kiwior conversation. I mean, I asked Egal the questions a little bit of a joke, and he didn't really answer it. He went on to a referee rant, to be fair. But it was like, I don't think you're going to be starting him at all. Neutral wise, Mo, what did you make of the game today? Do you think it was right that Arsenal played with a low amount of intensity? Obviously, a lot of the Gooners on the panel were saying that they understood it ahead of Tuesday. Do you think maybe they should have had a bit more intensity in the game to prepare themselves? What way round do you see it, Mo? You're on mute, brother.
I muted myself, yeah. You shouldn't even have played the game, to be honest with you. I don't think the game matters. And everyone that thinks that Kiwior, because he played well against Everton, this is not an indication at all. It's not. The only couple of things that I take from this game is that Lewis-Skelly now, for the second game running, is kind of asleep at the back line, and Arteta need to wake him up a little bit because of last game as well. At the end of the game against Fulham, he kind of got caught up a couple of times. Jorginho should never touch the pitch against Real Madrid. And it's going to be the dilemma of you play Trossard up top or Mikel Merino. It's just one or the other, because you know that Saka and Martinelli will start on both wings. And also this game, anybody that watched this game and thinks that, yes, this is how we should play against Madrid, or this is the personnel that should play, Kiwior should be here or whatever, it's not an indication at all. Like, against Real Madrid, you should be compact. You should use your chances. You should play on the counter-attack. You should defend in bulk. And it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't matter who plays at the back line. Arteta should not go against Real Madrid approaching the game with the mentality of like Saliba can defend Mbappe or Ben White can defend Vinny Jr. It should be 2-on-1 every single time, like what Everton do against Arsenal. You shouldn't be relying on individual defenders. You're not playing against Beto, with all due respect to Beto, or even Oli Watkins. This is not the same. This is one of the strongest attacks in the world at the current moment, along with Barcelona as well. To me, like, listen, I actually don't think that this game was as bad as people think it is. I know you said it was low quality. It was, but I thought that was by design. It was very obvious that Mikel Arteta was like, whatever, I just want to give minutes to some of these people. I want to rest my players. This is why, by the way, he put Timber again, because he wanted to rest Ben White. He put Saka at halftime to give him more minutes than last game. It's building him up to the Real Madrid game because he's going to start. And by the way, Everton are washed, bro. Like, they are absolutely crap. They're shit. What kind of football is this? This is garbage brand of football that they play. And Arsenal, getting a point at this game doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And people are like trying to be Arsenal with this. You drew to Everton. Yeah, but who cares? You won the league already, Liverpool fans. Who cares if Arsenal even lost in this game? You're not going to come here and banter. We already lost the league like 10 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. And for the referees, I know you're going to talk about the penalty in a bit, but I don't think it matters at all for Arsenal this game. It's how they should play against Everton. Nobody should make a sprint. No one. I was thinking Saka made a sprint, and I'm like, bro, don't even chase that ball. It doesn't matter. It won't matter. If you get the ball at your feet, try to dribble. Otherwise, don't even try to sprint. It's not worth it. Nobody cares. You're going to finish second or even third. It doesn't matter. And I think that all Arsenal fans were literally thinking the same. Don't sprint, please. Don't go for that ball. Just leave it to go to a goal kick.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I hear you.
I started opening up and I'm like, let's wait.
I hear you. I think for me, just I said at the beginning of my video, because I know there's a lot of rumors, about me being in the closet, and I'm gonna have a coming out party.
Just come out, Terry.
Fan.
Just come out. Bro.
The wall was warm, is it? Right? No, look, I was annoyed because I wanted a bit more of an entertaining game, but so you have to keep your own. Sometimes you have to keep the energy that you put out there. Arsenal's job has been and never will be to entertain anyone. In fact, it's to win football matches. And it was a bit of a chess move today. You're right. I think that it was almost a message you could see it in the players. It was just, they just weren't at it. And as you say, I think it was by design. It really,
do you know what
was.
The commentators in Arabic here said? They actually said in the beginning of the game that this game doesn't matter for Everton at all. And that they're 14 points ahead of the league. It doesn't. And again, Everton, it didn't look like it mattered that much for them.
This is what, do you know what you'll see today, though? This is where like Standards FC will show their bum crack today. And I'm not talking about Connor, right? But this is how you know the bum crack will come out. Because they'll say,
FC member.
No, honestly, because Connor's not Standard FC, but he gets put into that category because
he's a member though. He has a card. He has an ID card.
No, he's like a. Have you ever been to a frat party? You're not part of the fraternity, but every now and then you get to go to one of the parties, right? It's like that kind of thing, right? Connor kind of dabbles in it. Do you know what I mean? He's
I'm against the manager, but I got good reasoning for being against the manager. I hate the guy.
You actually, you break it down well. You praise him for what he's built. You're not in that club for me, but they'll go mad today and they'll try and make it sound like it's a disgrace. You've got to try and win every game. They're the same people that say there's no difference between second place and bottom of the league. They say they're all the same position because you're not winning. So therefore, you're not going to win the league. They've criticized you for it already. So the rest of your league games don't really matter, but they won't say that, but they'll hypocrisize themselves. It's just, I enjoy the content when they do that because I'm sure they'll be
League Honor.
Well, I don't know what Lee said. I haven't watched Lee. I don't know. I'll defend Lee. I think Lee will have the same view as Connor, same view as Mo. I think he'll look at it like no one got injured, bit of a boring game. I think, I've criticized Lewis-Skelly's defending, so I think he'll criticize that. But I don't think Lee Gunner will be sitting there fuming at that. I'm talking more Standards FC, the trolls online, the nameless, faceless people. But that's because they always look for the controversy, I suppose. So,
can I say something about? I know before you go for the penalty. I'm from outside, right? Like I don't support Arsenal, support Everton, I support Liverpool, right? Liverpool already won the league. This is 100% not a penalty. If this is given against my team, I would actually smash the TV, to be honest. I'm being serious, by the way. This is not even close. And I can't understand how they looked at it in VAR. And even if you think that in England made the right decision about the foul was from outside. There is no touch whatsoever inside the 18. And by the way, if the foul started inside the 18 and didn't continue in the 18, by the law, it's a foul from outside the 18. There was no touch whatsoever inside the 18. But everyone wants to say it's a penalty.
But I think
if this is a given against your team, you'll be crying.
Yeah,
you'll be crying.
Mo, I have a little feeling. I have a little feeling they've given it for falling on his leg.
Can I quickly give my opinion?
As much as that's not a foul, I don't even know if it's for the fall. I think it's because he's fallen. I think from the referee's angle, it looks like he falls heavily on his leg. They've watched the replay and there's slight contact. I honestly wait till it comes. Shannon, what do you make of it, mate?
So Terry, just to touch on what you said now, if they give the penalty for the player for Lewis-Skelly falling on Harrison, that would probably be the fourth decision this season that I've seen Arsenal get that I guarantee you would never, ever see him given a game. Because how is he supposed to stop himself from falling? If any of us fall now, you can never control the way you fall. Nobody ever looks good falling. So if you're going to give a penalty for a guy falling, losing his balance, then every single touch in the box is going to be a foul. Yes, there's contact in the box. You can say, sure. But is it contact to bring the player down? The foul starts outside the box, as Mo says. And I think, that was, for me, what made the result more deflating. It's not that we drew. It's more how we end up drawing. It's another game where we're speaking about a referee decision, which, like you said, look, it could happen in the next game, and people will just brush over it. And I'm just, I don't know, man.
Harrison didn't even ask for it. Harrison was getting up to get to the ball.
Exactly,
he didn't even ask for it. Like, he didn't feel any contact. I don't know what people are talking about. You know what? I get it if Harrison got up and started. None of the Everton players will convince the penalty. None of them asked for it.
It is. I think, look at it this way. If they've given it for the pull, then you're going to get an apology. As you say, Mo, the pulling stops as you enter in the box. Therefore, it's a clear and obvious error, right? Because for it to be a foul, you've got to start pulling outside the box, and it's got to continue into the box. If it's for the fall on the player's leg, but we've seen it already. It happened the other day. You remember the penalty Liverpool got against Bournemouth, where the Bournemouth player accidentally catches the foot?
Gakpo, yeah.
Yeah, on Gakpo. It happened in another game the other day, where I don't remember what the team, I have to go back and look, where a defender and striker are running. I'll tell you where it happened. It was a team that scored. Oh, shit. Who was it?
Aston Villa. It was Aston Villa game.
Aston Villa scored. But Ollie Watkins accidentally, in the same way, tripped up a defender that could have got to block him, and they didn't give it as a foul. And I'm sitting there, and I'm again, it's not about anything other than showing those two incidents to Howard Webb and go explain why one's a penalty and a foul, but the exact same incident in reverse is not given as a foul. And that's the thing for me that football fans just lose sight of because of their tribalism, is we keep seeing these weird decisions and we just want it to be broken down. And if they say it's a mistake, I actually am more accepting of the apology saying we made a mistake than I am of them trying to justify the bullshit. Sorry, Shannon, back to you.
So, Terry, just another thing. This is the same referee who was on VAR when Lewis-Skelly got the red card against Wolves. So immediately there's some sort of bias in his decision. I don't think you cannot have a referee who gave a decision like that against us, then referee our games. I just don't see him being impartial. I mean, if you look at, like I said, the decision that he makes today, you have VAR who then check it. Why not send him to the monitor for a second look? It's not clear and obvious. So let the referee have a second look at it. I guarantee you changes his mind. But you have VAR there who don't want to make another blunder involving Arsenal to create this narrative which some fans are saying, Arsenal fans claim there's an agenda. It's not an agenda. I don't call it an agenda. I'm just calling out the many instances that Arsenal have gotten extreme cases of refereeing against them. And, it doesn't take away from the way we performed today. I don't think we performed at the level. I think I don't know, sorry, the guy next to Mo. I'm sorry if I know your name,
Connor,
but
Connor.
You mentioned that it was basically the midfield that you saw today was not something that gave you confidence. And the same with me. I think what Arsenal are really lacking is a creative midfielder outside of Odegaard. I think defensively we were solid today, and I think attack we had the chance. I just think in transition we don't have someone that can get us the ball in the tight spaces to break down a team like Everton. And then looking at Madrid, I think you'll see a completely different performance from Arsenal. I actually disagree with Mo to some regard, where he's saying, you go 2-1 against Madrid. Yes, I think in some instances you do show them that kind of respect. But at the same time, I think your game can't only be based off trying to stop the opposition. You also need to focus on playing your own game. And I think Arsenal have shown defensively that we are good as a unit. I don't think we have to do anything special. And what I mean by that is I don't think you go and change the way you defend purely for Madrid, because then I think it might take away from the rest of your game if you're going to be focusing purely on that, especially since we play the first home leg at home.
Have you noticed?
The only way to beat
Have you noticed that every single Big Six game that you have played recently in the last 2 years, you change the way you play against these teams? You don't defend with Saliba being one-on-one or even Gabriel one-on-one. This is why Arteta has been criticized late. He turns into a pragmatist against big teams. This is what I'm asking. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm asking Arteta to play this as a Big Six team. Defend in bulk, 11 players behind the ball when I lose it. I'm not saying camp in your box. Arteta never does this. He did it once against Man City when he was down to 10 men. But all the other games, Arteta asked the wingers to defend deeper, to go double on the wingers. That's what I'm asking. And then Arsenal are a very good team in transition. We actually saw it today with a shit player like Raheem Sterling, who's one of the most overrated players I've said before. And on the transition, you actually created a couple of chances on the transition. And I don't think that Real Madrid defense is that strong. Especially there is a lot of players missing from them. So you do that.
Arsenal will make chances against Real Madrid. I'm sure of it. I want to go to some of these super chats. I haven't heard from Sard yet, but I'm going to come to Sard in a minute. First comment says, "Lol, you don't watch League Gunner." I do watch some of League Gunner's content. I don't know what he said now. He hasn't even. I don't even know if he's put his match reaction up. How can I watch it while I'm live streaming? You bellend. You know how people always try and create a drama. Of course, I watch some. I don't watch all these content. I don't watch all of anybody's content. But how do I know what someone has posted in a match reaction while I'm live streaming when they're posting their match reactions? You engage your brain, please, you bell. And by the way, Don Vito, that's how you insult somebody whilst also presenting an argument. The two things done simultaneously. Sorry, Ash, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say Madrid just conceded a corner, very bad defending. So, guys, I think we can qualify. We can win, guys. Just 10 corners a game. 10 corners a game. They're so shit at organizing.
You know what, right? I know everybody wants you guys to go out, right? I know everyone wants you to go out. I know everyone wants you to go out. But again, you guys going through would be, I think, amazing for the time.
Break the internet.
It would break the internet.
It's funny, it's funny you say that, Terry. The only time we've ever gotten through to the final of the Champions League, we did beat them.
I get that.
Like, so
it's
for me, only ever time. So
no, I get that. And if you guys go through, it breaks the internet, right? It really does. I think more so than if you go out. However, I would like to see you do it with like 2-0 on aggregate with 2 set-piece goals. The insult to injury, the salt in the wounds. Again, just as someone who loves fan content, just sit there and watch the melt. It's not real. They're not real goals.
Terry, do you know what's
beautiful? Be beautiful.
Terry, do you know what's crazy? We haven't even won today, and everyone's crying about it. Like, not Arsenal fans, I mean rival fans. We well done. We conceded a penalty. Like, you know, but it's like, why is everyone so bothered? We drew, and the league's done.
over.
I don't understand why so many people are so bothered by the fact we haven't even won the game.
Connor, the part that trips me the most is they say we're so shit as a team. Like, this team is so shit. Odegaard is so shit. Arteta is so crap. All the injuries, we're still second. I mean, and in a game that is inconsequential, we won't even lose the game, and people are still losing their shit. It's just a genuine Arsenal derangement syndrome, ADS.
It's a very good trophy for Dio. It's called in second with injuries. I think the hand is at the
No.
But CC, more is an example. More is an example. You know, to go back to your question, Terry, you know, if we do knock out Madrid somehow, I guarantee you everyone is going to come out saying, what a trophy for Arsenal. What a trophy for Arsenal. Yeah, you knocked out Madrid. Who cares? What a trophy for Arsenal. You're not going to win the Champions League anyways. This is brain dead.
You can never appreciate something like this. I'm very much stern on my opinions. Like, oh, you know, I don't believe second's a trophy like some people do. But it's like, come on, like, for a game
with injuries, Connor. It is with injuries, Connor. It is with injuries.
No. I'm not even. See, you
have to present to the league the amount of injuries and the amount of games that are missed.
I don't care.
You actually get a trophy at that. Second, without injuries like last season, you don't get a trophy.
If you remember what I said at the beginning of the season, I said, I don't give, like, even if Arteta had won me a cup double this season, I still wanted to change my manager. That's what I said at the beginning of the season. I said, even if he won the FA Cup and Carabao, I still want my manager changed. Like, I still want a better manager than Mikel Arteta come end of the season. My thing is, regardless of anything, you can't say what that crap. You can't look at the team and be like, yeah, look at you, good for you, you overplayed. I saw someone say Gabriel's injury is Mikel Arteta's fault because he played him too many times. And I said, which manager would not want
to all of this, Dio, and in the beginning of this segment, sorry, Terry, all of this, Dio, in the beginning of this segment, you said, look at us with all these injuries, we're still second. All of what you said, but you said that in the beginning of the segment.
About rivals more.
You're contradicting yourself.
I don't think he is, Mo. I think you've misheard him there. I think you misunderstood him.
Maybe tell me what he said. He literally said, "Look at us, we're second with all these injuries. We're still second."
Please say it again so you understand, Mo. I want you to listen to understand and not just to respond.
I am.
What I said is rival fans will say Look at them. They're so shit. Even with all the injuries and everything, whatever. I said, but at least as shit as we are, we're still second. I'm talking about what rival fans are saying. I'm not saying it. I don't give that. What I said is Arteta has his bed to lay on. He didn't buy enough players. What he's chosen to do, he will live by it. That's what I said.
I understand that. Do you know what I think is interesting about the injury things? I asked this question of 2 Arteta outers today. They still haven't come back to me. He's rushing Saka back. And this is my question I posed to them. How many games between his return, so the last match, and him getting re-injured? How many, is there a game period, certain amount of minutes that he has to play before you won't blame the next injury on being rushed back? Like, when's the cutoff point? Because I also feel like the narrative set, the next time, it could be in a year. And I still think people would say, if we'd arrested him at the end of last season and given him that rest, this injury wouldn't have happened. And I think that's the level of derangement, which I find crazy. But they tend not to want to set a limit to anything because that way they can just keep the abuse open-ended. I've got quite a lot of super chats to get through here. First one says, Terry, are Arsenal going to finish second? They're 5 points clear of third. Most likely, I would say, still to come second, Arsenal, I would say. How is that a penalty? PGMOL are corrupt. KD says it is blatant. The ref had a bias. It is ridiculous how PGMOL can't be questioned. So I think I've already done that super chat. Thank you, bro. Already done that one too. Howard Webb and Richard Masters need to go. Terry was calculated and asked Egal a specific question, not about the refs, and in 10 seconds he turned it into a PGMO monologue. I will say that sometimes the host, I asked someone a question. So what did you make today, Sard, of Odegaard's substitute performance? Yeah, it was okay, and then rants about something else for 10 minutes. It's like, yeah, we ask questions for a reason. Do you know what I mean? I know what I'm doing. Yeah, Egal's hilarious for that. Stop crying, Egal. Arsenal weren't good enough. Every team can point to several decisions that the refs have gone against them. I agree with that part. What I would say, D-Town, is I haven't, again, a lot of the people were up before I brought the panel out. Most of the guys are not even annoyed with their team performance, with Arsenal's performance today. They're just literally saying, I got why we did it. But they're still allowed to, even if they're still allowed to criticize the refereeing decision. Where I agree is that Egal does do the conspiracy thing too much. That I agree with, D. Arsenal fans cry so much about refs that when a decision is actually wrong, like the pen, nobody cares. Didn't deserve to win with that team sheet. What do you make of that, Sard? That comment there from Curtis.
Arsenal crying so much about the refs. What a decision was that?
You weren't listening. Oh my god!
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I was reading something. Sorry, mate.
All right.
Here's the thing for this whole narrative that the rivals are trying to put out about, Arsenal, they're just crying about the refs, the performance wasn't good, speak about the performance. And the last guy also who said, everybody can name 3 or 4 decisions that the referees have given that are bad against them. That is the main reason why we're in this fucking mess. That is the main reason why we're in this mess, is because every single one of us can name 3, 4 decisions, but we won't do it. We won't name the decisions and actually put a front out there and fight against these guys. We won't actually call it out. We just sit here and we're like, oh, no, it's okay. Stop crying about the refs. Stop crying about the refs. Like, bro, it's stupidness. It's madness.
I think this show has been going for an hour and 8 minutes now. And the most of the talk about the penalties actually has come from the viewers, talking about it. And our job as streamers is to talk to our viewers. But Arsenal's performance and subs and individuals have been discussed, but I just don't understand why certain content creators, certain people on social media, on both ends of the spectrum, only want to focus on refs or there's only focus on performance. So you just can be grown-ups and talk about both. Exactly. I don't know. Other than Connor don't like to do anything that might defend Arsenal. He hates it.
Terry, do you realize that Everton's first shot on target was a penalty?
Everton's first shot on target.
That's how crap this game was. Everton's first shot on target was that penalty. Yeah.
He was awful. Egal sleeps at the base.
It took Tierney created the most chances in the match.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's how crap this game was, and I still wasn't bothered about it.
I think Connor's internet is playing up here because Connor's in 1992. Jesus Christ, that delay.
He still hasn't heard us yet. He still hasn't heard us yet. He doesn't know what we're talking about.
What just happened? I didn't even see it. What just happened?
I told you guys.
It has to be clipped.
Egal sleeps at the base of Arteta's bed like a loyal dog, again blaming the refs. The ref made a mistake today, though. He did make a mistake. The only thing I disagree with Egal on is I don't think Lewis-Skelly was being fouled either. I just think play the fuck off.
Not a
I
penalty.
don't like those.
Correct.
I feel like
50-50.
those fouls in football should be. This is what's crazy about it. I see Rasmus Højlund get treated like Lewis, in that way, and never gets a foul go his way. That's why I can't believe it's a penalty. It's crazy. Egal, stop deflecting and look at Arteta's dumbass game management for spamming long balls straight from kickoff against a side with an average height of 6.2, giving them the chance to attack us.
Sorry, can I just respond to this?
Yes.
Right? So, our best chance against Real Madrid is transitions, right? And look, I am not saying this guy should start / needs to start, but I'm just saying that this guy
Kiwior
has a speciality of long.
Hang on.
passes.
What the fuck has that got to do with this super chat?
Huh? Because spamming long ball straight from kickoff, right? I'm just saying we could score that. We could do something against Real Madrid.
What does that have to do with Kiwior, though? What does that have to do with Kiwior?
Because
What does that
Kiwior
have to
is
do-
probably the best long ball passer in our team.
Because you saw him give two good
Shut-
long passes. That's it.
Shut up, you
saw him
tit.
give-
No.
You saw him give two
tit.
good long
Literally
passes.
the reason why we
You're like
brought
he's
him.
the best.
We
in our team.
literally brought
Oh
him
my
because
God, Matt.
he is good at long passes.
Oh, mate.
That's one of the reasons why we brought him.
Oh, stop. Who told you that? Your source said Man United were getting Southgate.
It's just out there. It was out there why we brought him.
Another iconic Egal excuse session. Big up Carl for the super chat. If I'd play Tierney on the left against Madrid, I mean, Lewis-Skelly did look a little suspect
Don't
today,
take
though,
drugs.
defending. But in the attack, look again, it's a mixture, isn't it? It is a
He's a
mixture.
midfielder.
I get,
And even
I-
defensively, Skelly is better than Tierney. Let's stop this nonsense.
But I'm just
Arsenal
glad.
missed-
I'm just glad that we didn't do anything stupid today. We can't catch a break with all these injuries as well. You don't need any more injuries against a Madrid team. Like right now, we don't need any more. Yeah, we need to go in.
I hear that. Arsenal missed the best defensive striker in the league in Havertz, but at least they had the best DM in the league in Rice today, is what C says. You guys are focusing on the wrong incident. The ref watching O'Brien block Raya twice, by the way. He did that in the game. I forgot about that one. That's why, again, sometimes when these incidents happen, I do go, fuck's sake, it's Arsenal that are playing, because people won't want to talk about them. But he watched it. And did you hear the commentators? I don't know what,
Yeah, I heard that.
the commentator was watching it. The English commentator was watching it over in England, and he was like, "Oh, why's the referee got his back turned?" Then when he watched the replay, I was like, "Oh my god, he didn't have his back turned. He was looking at it."
I was trying to back
Crazy.
him. I'm trying to back him, bro.
I know. You are not beating Madrid, bruv. You can't even beat Europa League teams.
We beat United.
Who said that?
And Tottenham.
We beat Tottenham as well, to
Both
be
are
fair.
Europa League teams, right?
Yeah, who said that? Who said that?
Oh no. Is Ancelotti a better tactical coach than Arteta?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what?
Don't
My
say
only
much
my
debate in
response
that.
to this, I think he is. But what I would just as a question is, what do you mean by tactical coach? Because you may interpret tactical coaching different to what everybody else does. I'd love to hear your view on that. Chike here with an amazing donation. He says, y'all need to watch basketball, especially the NCAA final. 4 of the universities of Florida, Auburn. Is it Auburn? I don't pronounce that. University of Houston and Duke,
University.
all playing for the ultimate prize of championship. Also, KDB, more like KFC guys, useless.
What?
Well,
What?
I mean,
Isn't he a City fan? Why is he shitting
Yeah.
on his own legend?
I don't get.
The greatest
I
midfielder
won't
of Premier
watch-
League history.
I won't watch the basketball. I'm not going to have time this weekend, but I hope you enjoy it, GK. Thank you for the donation. And yeah, KDB's amazing. I have him as number 2 in the my all-time
Who's number
Premier
1?
League. Paul Scholes, of course.
There we
Oh
go.
my god.
Bro,
balls.
Argument
Terry,
begun.
come on.
There we
Terry,
go.
Come on, bro.
Because I know that Terry rates
Mine,
goals,
people say
and I know
mine's
that you
biased,
don't.
and it is biased because I've done mine based on subjectivity. And I base all of, when anyone gets into my legend lists, I base it on 4 things: ability,
KDB.
consistency and longevity, trophies they were integral in winning, and their outputs within
KDB.
that role. So when I look at those 4 things, like that's why KDB is so high. Like he has to be. I can't
Fair enough.
knock him down. But when I look at Scholes, and it's really funny, right? Because you always get that response of, "What are you bringing up trophies for an individual debate?" I'm like, hang on though. Let's just remove Man United players because they've got so many trophies, my legends. Let's think about it from when Liverpool fans speak of those brilliant Gerrard moments. When Chelsea fans argue why Drogba was one of the greatest ever strikers, they talk about clutch moments in finals. They talk about what Gerrard did to help him win the Champions League. They're talking about iconic moments that led to winning trophies. But yet when it comes to Paul Scholes, I can't use how brilliant he was and us winning trophies as the reason why he's so high. I just find it really interesting when people do that.
The problem for you, Terry, is I don't think Scholes is even your best ever midfielder. I think Roy Keane is. I don't like, look, he's a good midfielder, 100% world class on his day. But the fact that your team has won many things and not once was Paul Scholes even nominated for or won the United's player of the season. I'm not saying he's shit because I think some people go crazy. But I do think like people overhype him a little bit when it comes to these kind of conversations. I think Roy Keane is a better midfielder than, in my opinion.
And that's fair. Roy Keane's number 3 on my list, right? So it's there, and it's a subjectivity thing because I'm also including what I like in players in this. But you've also got to look at Kiwior got man of the match today, and I don't know if people are aware of this. Whoever gets the man of the match given by the broadcaster in the UK is the man of the match around the world. Every show will show that person's man of the match. Kiwior was given the man of the match because of the media attention around him ahead of this game, and he played okay today. I use that as a case in point. Paul Scholes was such an unassuming, quiet, never in the media, never got any attention type of person. Half the reason why he didn't get more man of the matches than he deserved. Like Beckham got a lot more man of the matches because in the build up to the game, the talk would be about him, not just because of his football, because he was also seen with an Alice band on during the tour of the Spice Girls, and it would get more attention. And this is what happens sometimes. You end up like Paul Scholes would just perform brilliantly every week, but quiet, unassuming. But the player that was in the media, whether it be for football reasons or personal reasons, then having a good game, you'd then go, who's man of the match, Andy Gray? Back in the days, well, after the week he's had and the performance today, got to give it to Beckham. We'd sit there as United fans going, Scholes was twice a player of him today, but Beckham would get it. Does that make sense? So I
hear you against Madrid. Then is that your advice?
Sorry,
well, your advice.
Yeah, my conclusion is play Kiwior.
That's what Matt was saying. Yeah,
I get you. Scholes is a ginger, soulless player. Can't be a legend. Sorry, it's just crazy conversation. Crazy conversation to have.
What is this like playground conversation, bro?
Madrid game right now is actually mad crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that soon. Can someone find someone who will defend you like you defend Kiwior, and you'll be married for life? I mean, yeah, Matt. Sort yourself out,
I don't even rate the player. I'm just thinking of, the way Real Madrid will play against us transitionally. He would suit the way that we will attack. That's just the way.
I kind of get you, bro. I kind of get you.
You know what I think, Matt? Like
I don't get anything. I think that's the biggest
Ash, you know what? Ash, it sounds crazy, but I do think that sometimes some of these players, like honestly, the moments also bring out some of the best in them. We know how calamity players can turn around and do some great. We saw it with Tottenham. What's his name? In the semifinals. No, when they made it to the finals of the Champions League in the semifinals. Lucas Moura. Suddenly, Lucas Moura.
No, but that's different, Dayo. I think you and Matt are missing the point. You guys you're missing the point. We're not saying if there's no option. I understand. We have 0 options. Start Kiwior.
Yeah,
but we have 4 better defenders than him.
I agree. I agree with you. But if he plays, I'm not going to be mad.
Like what?
I will be mad.
Let me even just say what I mean. It's like, listen, we can't catch a break this season, right? If we hear now that tomorrow, in training, we've had 2 injuries to 2 defenders. Timber is out, and Ben White is back again because of his knee, out again, and we have to play Kiwior. I'm just saying that sometimes moments make players. They may not be the best people for the job, but if that's who we have on the pitch, I expect that he plays for the badge. That's all I expect.
That doesn't work in real life. That works in a utopian world. It doesn't work in real life. When you play someone who's way below standard, and your logic again is different because you're saying if these 2 get injured, blah blah. That's different conversation.
No,
let me ask you guys this. Do you rate Partey? Do you guys rate Partey this season? Has he been good this season?
Yeah,
he was good at the start.
I think he's good this season.
If Partey doesn't start against Real Madrid and we start Rice and Moreno, would you guys be okay or will you be mad?
I mean, let's be honest about it. I would be mad if you had him fit and you did not play him. My point again is this, Ash.
Exact same thing with Kiwior, yeah. Exact same thing. I'd be mad if Timber and Ben White are available and they start Kiwior.
This was the same Ben White who, against Fulham, everybody was saying that he had an injury, like he had a knock. We didn't know where he was.
Yes,
he wasn't on the
but
bench.
he's
Hold on. All of a sudden, we see him play now. So is it that we're playing him through the pain, or what are we doing? Like
He was definitely playing.
I don't mind. I genuinely
He was
don't
quite
mind
close
just
to
playing
it.
through the pain. Give
for
them
me,
a pain
yeah.
if they have to, but let them play because this is
You
the
know-
biggest
you know-
game of the season.
For me, the only thing I'll say about this conversation in regards to like the whole, Kiwior is really good at, long balls and all of that bullshit. If you're gonna put him on for that, if you're gonna put him on for that sole purpose, of him being good with these long balls and being able to help us on the counter attack, you do realize you have to outscore Real Madrid then, because I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, he is getting blitzed by either Mbappe or Rodrigo, whichever one hits him first.
You've got 110%. Just for his long balls wouldn't make sense. I hear you. Imagine being so disingenuous you can't just call out the Masonic organization called the PGMOL and the Masons that employ to follow orders blindly. Never a penalty. There's a massive tweet that's been put out by a big Spurs account just calling the penalty out. This is why I said it right at the top of the show. The amount of people that don't support Arsenal that have said it's not a penalty should, even if you're unsure, should be an indicator it's a bad decision. It should just be an indicator for you at the very least.
But Terry, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's tribalism. People are not willing, even if something happened to United, like for example tomorrow, all of us are going to be like, most rival fans. I definitely don't do that, but a lot of rival fans are going to be like, United, you deserve this.
It's
tribalism.
Tribalism coupled with ideologues. People that have got, I can't have anything happen or happen that will give Arteta an excuse. Does that make sense?
Tribalism to the detriment of the game, like literally to the detriment of what the game stands for. Because if this type of calls are made week in, week out in every game, we will not. How are we sitting here still even discussing the referee's decision again?
Yeah,
like we should. That should not even be part of the conversation week in, week out. With VAR and technology, it's stupid.
Agree. Jokes aside, even as a Liverpool fan, Scholes is the best. He just hurts. He just gets hurt because he wasn't flashy. Similar to Salah Hazard debate. Just interesting. I would say this. It depends what you mean by flashy. Paul Scholes was amazing. He was also a giant fish in a gigantic ocean full of other gigantic fish, and it didn't help. If Paul Scholes had the career he did, the goals, the assists, the performances, but he was in a lesser team or a team that didn't win, or he was the biggest fish in the pond, he may have stood out a little bit more. It's like perspective sometimes. The guy that comes last in the 100-meter final can often look quite slow because of the speed of the people that are coming first, second, third, and fourth. Doesn't mean though that he isn't better than the vast majority of other midfielders at other football clubs. So you have to weigh all these things up. But Paul Scholes was amazing, absolutely amazing. White took the centre-back role against Liverpool and was the best defender that day. I don't see why he doesn't start over Kiwior. Yeah, I don't see any reason. Yeah. I think Ben White or Kiwior or Timber, one of them has to start over Kiwior at centre-back. They're both better centre-backs than him, and I just think it's got to happen. Everyone's saying
start at right back due to him playing against Vinicius Jr. Like there is no way that.
Well, you say that, but your best combination on the right hand side is Saka, Odegaard, and Ben White.
Yeah, no, I get that
as a relationship.
From a defensive point of view, I think I'd want Timber there.
Same.
Like.
I hear that.
We'll
discuss that more. Yeah, I've got to do this last super chat because I'm running out of time, gents. I'm so sorry. Everyone's saying Arsenal are going to lose to Real Madrid. I get the feeling they'll get a result. They have a free hit in a game, win, lose, or draw. I wouldn't call it a free hit. I think that Arsenal got a chance of winning. There's an expectation on them to play well still, but they are the underdogs. They are. Look, I want to thank everyone who has tuned into the show. Please hit the like button before you leave. Make sure you're subscribing. This is going to redirect you to MHF, so go and support Mo and Hussam on their channel now. We're back with more content later, and of course, big match reactions tomorrow as well. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again soon. Peace.